Hey guys, this is Mini Sinky here for another Sonic Wave Gaming Voicecast. Now, the DSI is out, and either you have got your DSI or you're still waiting to get yours. Like anything in gaming, you have to make an investment, and there are those that have asked me as to whether or not the DSI is worth it or whether they should get into it. I fully recommend the DSI. Now, there's a lot to the DSI as to why I would recommend it. I would never recommend this console just because you can take pictures. That's not why I recommend this console. But just so you guys know, from the research that I've done, one of the things that is more apparent with some of those that have done their looking into the DSI is the fact that the DSI has the downloadable content now that it can do. It is capable of that. Developers can upload new content onto the DSI Ware Store and have it for people to be able to download because it has an internal storage memory, the DSI, as well as SD card supports. The next thing, though, is something that literally just came up today, and is the reason why I'm finishing this video now, and that is video downloads, which is actually going to be something that has opened up for the Wii and the DSI. This video download service, which is called Winoma, which Nintendo has, thoughtfully said that it's going to start out small and it's going to build. It's going to feature like a virtual living room, and what you can do is you can upload Mii's into that virtual living room, and you have different objects in the environment that you would interact with, like you have your television, and when you click on the television, you'll zoom into what the video downloads are and everything like that, and you can watch them whenever you want to. There's also somewhat of a direct marketing component used in the living room where there's like this virtual plant, and when you click on it, you can get all of the marketing partners that Nintendo's signed up with on the channel, and you can get specific content if you're looking for it from a specific persons or company. When you download videos on the Wii channel, if you have a DSI, you can transfer the videos that you've downloaded and put it onto your DSI and bring it with you. And knowing Nintendo, that's going to be a big thing at E3 this year. So I'm definitely going to keep more watch out for that, and I'll give you more information as the time comes. Another one is very important, and that's DSI-specific cartridges. Now, this has been hinted at GDC this year, and developers were talking into how it would kind of work out. Now, a couple of the suggestions were they're going to create carts that have specific components in them that allow the carts to be used on the original DS Fatty and DS Lite. But what they're going to do is they're going to have a component that unlocks itself when it's inside of a DSI, and it gives DSI users abilities that only they can use with the different components that they have of their system, with the SD card support and the internal memory and the camera, all of those sort of things. But that's only one suggestion. Another was just going whole hog, making DSI specific carts that cannot be used in DS Lite and cannot be used with the DS Fat. And these kind of things that are being brought up really show more of the push that's going towards DSI. And one of those things would have to be the motion play. What it has is the camera that it can use, and it can take in live feed like an iToy. This has been shown in WarioWare Snapped. Now, WarioWare Snapped was a pretty good game. Yes, you had to have specific lighting and everything, and it could have been a little unresponsive. It was a little bit unpolished. The future of that sort of concepts totally lies in the hands of the developers. But we'll see as time goes on. As time has to tell with all of these different components. Another has to be the apps and games. This has to do with the DSI Ware channel that is now opened up. This now gives developers, outside just downloadable content, to create specific DSI downloadable games, which is actually very, very useful, because instead of having to carry a whole bunch of cartridges around with these small games, you have them on the go in your DSI all the time. I know the one that I'm looking forward to the most is Mighty Flip Champs, and I actually recommend anyone to be looking into that. It's a great platformer puzzler, but I'm not plugging this in anymore on that one. I'm just saying that's one that I'm really looking forward to. And the games and other applications that can be released for DSI as well, like the iPhone App Store. And one thing that you guys really should look out for, and totally depends on what Nintendo decides to do, but it's completely possible, is how the Wii has the Virtual Console, which allows you to play console games from back in the day. All of the things from the Genesis to the TurboGrafx 16 to the, I mean, crap, they've already gone down to the Commodore 64 now. But the DSi is not, it really doesn't have the capabilities to play console games from the past. Not that it doesn't have the processing power, but because resolution is a completely other issue, and the DSi just doesn't even have that, even back in the NES days. However, what the DSi does have is the ability to bring up the same resolution as handheld games from the past. And what Nintendo can do is release a virtual handheld service where, you know, you have games back from the Game Gear, the Game Boy Color, the Atari Lynx, the Neo Geo Pocket. I mean, there's a crap ton of handheld consoles that not everyone owned back in the day because handheld market was fairly new, and so it really wasn't as flourishing as like the consoles were at the time. And most of the time people had Game Boys. Personally, I owned a Game Boy, and I played my friend's Game Gear later on, and I love my friend's Game Gear. In fact, there's a couple games that if they did release a virtual handheld, I'd need to buy off there. And it'd be in my DSi all the time. But this shows, again, more potential for what the DSi can be capable of. And this will probably shut up the people who are constantly complaining about the fact that it has no GBA slot. And the last most important, is the fact that the DSiWare also gives developers second chances. And what I mean by this is that, say a developer is creating a game, and all developers need to then find publishers that are willing to pay for the advertising and the distribution of said game. If there's no publishers willing to take up the game and get it out there for the developer, most of the time developers were kind of left out in the colds. However, with the DSiWare, developers have second chances to bring those games that they couldn't bring out onto the market because publishers wouldn't let them. And now they can bring them again because they've been given that ability to upload them to Nintendo services without having to worry about distribution fees and the likes. And they can do it with less risk, and even the buyer has less risk because they're much cheaper. I mean, the top tier price is $8, and it goes right down to $1. So, you know, there's less risk in going that route than going with the in-store route, and developers can get their games out there that they could have not gotten out otherwise. Again, showing that it's very possibly a lot of games that are going to be coming out, and a lot of things coming out that will not be there for DS Lite and DS Fat owners. That's just the fact of life. In fact, I debated with a guy on this on IGN not too long ago, and he was kind of telling me how there's going to be lots of DS Lite owners who are going to be pissed if they find out that Nintendo's releasing lots of great games on the DSiWare channel. And I told them, well, that's their own fault. If you decided not to upgrade, you decided that, well, the games that are being made specifically for DS Lite are all I need. I don't need the games that are going to be being released in the future. That's just how it is. People are going to move on. I mean, handhelds, if you really have looked back into the past of them, have been updating at a constant rate for the longest time. I mean, Nintendo's released practically a new handheld every 2.5 years, if you look back into the history of it. And so this is really nothing new. And so this amount of complaining that I've heard is actually surprising. Now, I've given you the information. You can make the decision for yourselves whether it's worth it to upgrade or whether not worth it to upgrade. You can leave your ideas and your thoughts in the comments below and kind of discuss between each other. But personally, as I said, I would fully recommend the DSi to any true DS fan. Okay? See you later.